Imagine this: you haven't truly cried in a long time. Not because you don't feel pain, but because you learned how to endure it. You function well. You work, socialize, solve problems. Others see you as mature, rational, strong. Yet late at night, when the world finally goes quiet, a strange emptiness rises inside you, not sadness, but the feeling of a forgotten self knocking from within. Have you noticed that many of your emotional reactions don't feel adult at all? You collapse at slight coldness, rage when ignored, cling in relationships, silently asking, "Am I enough? Will I be abandoned?" You know these reactions are irrational. And yet, you can't control them. So you blame yourself for not being mature enough, disciplined enough, healed enough. But what if the real problem is far more unsettling? What if the part that needs healing was never your present self at all? Carl Jung believed that the most neglected, and most destructive, part of the psyche is not desire, but the wounded child buried beneath years of forced maturity. You learn to be obedient so you wouldn't be abandoned. You learn to be understanding so you wouldn't burden others. You learn to suppress your emotions to earn safety. These were survival strategies once. But you carried them straight into adulthood. So now you chase achievement to prove your worth, use relationships to fill the inner void, and explain emotions instead of listening to them. You think you're moving forward. But unconsciously, your entire life becomes one repeated gesture, trying to extract from the world the comfort that child never received. The world will not give it to you. It will only reopen the wound, again and again, until you finally stop and ask the question you've been avoiding: if all your suffering isn't because you're weak, but because the wounded child inside you was never held, how long can you keep running? This is Jung's unsettling truth: if you don't heal your inner child, your entire life will pay the price for it. And if you dare to turn back, to face the vulnerability you thought you'd outgrown, what comes next will not be comfort, but a truth powerful enough to change the course of your life. The real danger is not that you were hurt. The real danger is this: the wounded child has already taken control of your adult decisions. When Jung spoke of complexes, he wasn't describing emotional weakness, he was revealing a brutal mechanism. Unconscious childhood wounds do not disappear. They become automated psychological systems. You think you choose, but you react. You think you are rational, but you merely rationalize. You think you love, but often, it is the child inside you begging for validation, attachment, rescue. Why are you drawn to the same kind of people? Why do you promise yourself, "This time is different," yet repeat the same relational patterns? Why do you crave authority yet resist it, seek intimacy yet flee from it? Because your inner child is still living in the past. In that world, love is conditional, safety is fragile, and abandonment is always imminent. Nietzsche understood this well: the deepest human suffering does not come from oppression, but from inner conflicts that cannot be acknowledged. Schopenhauer went further. He argued that human desire endlessly pursues what it can never satisfy, because what we truly seek is not the object, but a lost image from early life. You do not desire that person. You desire the unanswered cry from childhood. Modern society does not help you see this. It intensifies the illusion. It demands discipline, growth, success, but leaves no space for vulnerability, pause, or return. So you try to fix everything externally: new relationships, new jobs, new cities, new identities. Yet no one teaches you the most dangerous act of all: to return to the child you abandoned. Jung warned that the greatest illusion is believing you have grown up. Most people simply wrap childhood wounds into adult personalities. Your need for control may come from helplessness. Your people-pleasing may come from fear of loss. Your coldness may be armor, not indifference. And when you refuse to see this, these forces continue to shape your fate from the shadows, choosing the wrong people, staying in the wrong places, leading you back to the same pain again and again. So the real question is not, how do I become stronger? But this, do I dare admit I was never healed? Because only when you face your inner child do you truly stand at the entrance of your own life. What is truly frightening is not your emotional breakdowns. It is the choices you believe are normal. The partners you choose. The relationships you tolerate. The work environments you stay in. The way you handle conflict. Even how you define success and happiness, how much of this truly comes from your present self? And how much comes from the inner child, leading you back, again and again, to what feels familiar, even if it hurts? Jung warned that what remains unconscious returns as fate. This is not metaphor. It is structure. When the inner child is unhealed, it does three things for you. First, it confuses familiarity with safety. Even when familiarity means neglect, control, emotional deprivation. Because for the child, predictability matters more than happiness. Second, it repeats trauma instead of avoiding it. You think you are seeking love. In truth, you are seeking a chance to rewrite the past. Every failed relationship whispers the same hope: if I try harder this time, maybe it will finally change. Third, it quietly shrinks your life. You become afraid of risk, expression, authenticity. Not because you lack courage, but because the child learned that being quiet, obedient, enduring reduces loss. These consequences are subtle. They don't destroy you overnight. They make you smaller. You call withdrawal maturity. You label resignation realism. You say, this is just who I am, to justify pain that could have been healed. And society rewards this. The unhealed individual is easier to control, more willing to suppress himself, more likely to blame himself for systemic wounds. He says, I'm not good enough. I ask for too much. I'm too sensitive. Personal trauma becomes collective personality, productive yet exhausted, disciplined yet hollow, rational yet numb. Have you noticed? There are more functioning people than ever, and fewer who feel truly alive. This is no accident. A civilization that never teaches inner repair can only offer external substitutes: consumption, identity, achievement, relationships. They look like answers. They are only painkillers. And without realizing it, you become part of the cycle. You keep moving forward, yet feel increasingly fragmented. You keep striving, yet never arrive. Not because you are broken, but because you have carried an unseen, unsoothed child for far too long. And the question is, how much longer can you pretend this has no effect on your life? True healing is not the absence of pain, but the end of being ruled by it. Many misunderstand healing the inner child. They think it means soothing, forgiving, letting go. But what Jung pointed toward was far more dangerous. Not comfort, but conscious awakening. Your inner child does not need to be carried forever. He needs you to finally grow up and stand in front of him. The first act of rebellion is not changing relationships, not leaving someone, not even fixing the past. It is asking one question: who is deciding right now, the adult I am, or the child afraid of abandonment? Once this question appears, reality begins to fracture. You see that what you called personality was often just early defense. What you called fate was trauma seeking familiar containers. The second step is stopping emotional automation. The unhealed inner child doesn't just create pain, he creates reflex. People-pleasing, withdrawal, endurance, explosions, followed by shame. True rebellion is pausing at the moment emotion arises, and not acting immediately. You don't suppress. You don't discharge. You simply say inwardly, I see you. This is not weakness. This is power returning. The third step is accepting a brutal truth: your parents, partners, society may never give you what you lacked in childhood. This matters. Because as long as you are waiting, you are still a child. Nietzsche understood this well. Maturity begins when you abandon the fantasy of compensation. You stop expecting the world to repay your pain and begin taking responsibility for your life. This is not coldness. It is boundary. Those who truly lived consciously, Jung in isolation, Nietzsche in distance, the Stoics in inner sovereignty, were not escaping the world. They stopped treating it as a parent. When you stop demanding, you finally gain choice. You choose relationships, instead of being chosen by them. You act, instead of react. And what appears is not excitement or happiness, but something quieter and stronger, the peace of no longer needing to prove yourself. This is where rebellion truly begins. If you've followed this far, you may already sense an unsettling truth: the one who truly needed healing was never your inner child. It was the part of you you refused to face. Jung once wrote, "The greatest privilege of humanity is consciousness, and also its greatest fear." The inner child is not the root problem. He is a signal. A reminder that somewhere, you stopped growing. You are not repeatedly hurt because the world is cruel, or because you are inadequate. You are hurt because, at crucial moments, you handed the steering wheel of your life to a self that was never finished. You thought you were searching for love, you were searching for repair. You thought you were escaping pain, you were repeating familiarity. This is the ultimate paradox: what you try hardest to escape is what you keep recreating. When you see this clearly, healing stops being a process and becomes a shift in identity. You no longer ask, "Why am I like this?" You ask, "Who is responsible now?" Jung called this state individuation. Not perfection, but wholeness. You allow the inner child to exist without letting him rule. You acknowledge trauma without letting it decide your destiny. And something strange happens. The world doesn't become kinder. Human nature doesn't improve. But you stop being so easily wounded. Because what truly hurt you was never the event itself, but the moment you lost inner sovereignty. When sovereignty returns, harm loses its entry point. That is why the promise is not happiness, but this: nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. Not because you became harder, but because you became conscious. You stop treating the world as judge, others as saviors, relationships as shelters. You become someone who can hold solitude, contradiction, complexity. And only such a person is capable of real love, freedom, and choice. True healing is not returning to childhood, but standing fully, for the first time, in the present.